in pictures, but their families have been forever affected. So I think it is important for us to recognize that while we make speeches, we just talk about numbers, whether it was 171, 168, last year 8, but it is families, lives, and I can't even say only families. It's like a whole village gets affected when one life gets affected. So we are truly burdened by the ultimate sacrifice that has been made by certainly the Pakistani blue helmets, but also blue helmets all over the world as we commemorate this day. Pakistan has obviously been a very proud partner, and I say proud because truly this is something that I remember in my previous life as foreign minister also, and now is something that Pakistan takes great pride of. Pakistan takes great pride in this because this is a tradition that we have upheld and lived up to over years. And to us, nothing else in many ways represents the core values that Pakistan tries to present to the world than as demonstrated through this act of Pakistan. It is our belief in multilateralism. It is our belief in the commonality of peace. I liked how it was mentioned by Mr. Knut that peace, development, it's a good reminder. We have all read the UN Charter, but it's still a good reminder that peace, development, and human rights are three pillars, but all interlinked. So if you can avoid conflict, you are a contributor to peace. When there is conflict, there are different ways to contribute to peace, and therefore this becomes more and more complex as you go forward. Now, we, as I've already said, value greatly the sacrifice and the role, the vital role of the blue helmets in maintaining peace and stability in many conflict-ridden areas all over the world. We salute the services and the sacrifice that has been rendered by UN peacekeepers all over the world, and we certainly share the goals also all over the world. Pakistan has had a strong and long-standing association and commitment to UN peacekeeping. Since 1960, over 200,000 Pakistani military, police, and civilian personnel, including women, have served with honor and valor in 46 UN missions spread over 28 countries in Asia, Europe, and Africa. Today, we continue to stand among the top troop contributing countries with over 4,300 uniformed men and women serving in 9 UN peace operations. Our peacekeepers have served in war zones, have performed post-conflict mediation duties, and have undertaken rehabilitation work, as we were told in this panel discussion also. Now, through their professional excellence, integrity, impartiality, and dedication, Pakistani peacekeepers have always distinguished themselves in every mission that they have participated in. 171 of our bravest peacekeepers have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty for the cause of international peace and security. Last week, the United Nations Secretary General honored the sacrifices of 8 Pakistani peacekeepers who laid down their lives in 2022 alone on UN peacekeeping duties by awarding them the DASK Hammarskjöld Medal. Pakistan's contribution on the ground have also been complemented by our sustained engagement in the areas of peacekeeping policy development, which, as I already said, is equally important, and in peace building, as well as through training, capacity building, and financing support for peacekeeping missions. We bring a unique perspective to peacekeeping, both as a leading troop contributor as well as the host country to one of the oldest peacekeeping missions, the United Nations Military Observer Group in India and Pakistan. And as we go through a world in which some countries are allowed to deny the reality of conflict by saying the conflict doesn't exist because we have resolved it, it is institutions like UN MOGIP which remind us the festering of that, the reality of that conflict, and keeps rogue countries from becoming rogue and just not being able to deny the reality of the blue flag. And I take a lot of confidence from the role that the UN plays by not being swayed by powers that be in the direction of just saying what is incorrect. I'm also particularly pleased to note that an increasing number of Pakistani women, and thank you Major Saiba for really being there and speaking for all your compatriots and all the people who have served with you, and in many ways you represent not only the best of the military of Pakistan. You represent Pakistan, and how Pakistani women have found their way in every sector on their own terms, not by giving it on a platter, but by through society, through hard work, through really just being able to deserve the place that you have found, not only just because by being a woman being given to it in a platter. So we really appreciate your presence over here and your compatriots and your colleagues' presence as our blue helmets all over the world. They have served as doctors, as nurses, as psychologists, as stress counselors, as vocational training officers, as gender advisors, as operational officers, and are key and play a key role in engaging with local female populations. And the importance of that cannot be undermined. The importance of reaching out to women during conflict of stress of any type cannot be undermined. We realized that during the floods of 2022, that women were particularly going through a far more challenging circumstances. For instance, during the floods of 2022, we realized that there were about 600,000 women which were on their family way while they did not have shelter on their heads. So there are peculiar needs that women need, and therefore the presence of women troops in any form on the ground during conflict and times of stress, the importance of that cannot be overstated. I also want to say that as Pakistan military will be training women troops as soldiers, I think that in itself will be also a very major contribution. A team of our women officers has had the distinction of serving as the first all-female group from Pakistan in a UN peacekeeping mission deployed in the Democratic Republic of Congo, providing a range of resources and services. These deployments reflect Pakistan's deep-rooted commitment to women's critical role in the promotion of sustainable peace and security, not only within Pakistan, but all over the world. And we are proud of this contribution. We are truly proud of this contribution, and I want to say again, this reflects in many ways the Pakistan that it is, the Pakistan which, and the values that Pakistan stands for. Over the last 75 years, UN peacekeeping has proved to be a useful vehicle for promoting legitimacy and credibility of the United Nations across the world. And while we talk about credibility and legitimacy, it was very instructive to see how the threat to peace contributors, to peacekeepers, has increased over time. And to me, as a policy maker, one asks the question that the credibility that is required, the legitimacy that the UN system draws from its membership, from the value system that it espouses, from the Charter, our complete commitment to never giving up on those values for the sake of one or the other is what will continue to give them the credibility and the validity that they've enjoyed over the last many years. But as circumstances change, I think our response to those circumstances must also change, and to provide security to the peacekeepers is not a responsibility that should be taken lightly. So I think it is crucial to be able to, manage that in the current circumstances. To advance the ambition of sustainable peace, preventive diplomacy, and identifying the root causes of conflict are crucial. Pursuing a holistic peace-building approach would not only save cost, it would also save human lives. And I think this is a lesson that we have learned conflict after conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, the threats to UN peacekeepers have heightened. Today we have to navigate more than just bullets, as was clearly demonstrated through the talk that we have. The evolving nature of conflicts have compounded the challenges. Given the high risk, we must strengthen safety and security of peacekeepers while adhering to the fundamental principles of UN peacekeeping. We appreciate the revamped UN development system and resident coordinators system, which has brought more coherence and integration into UN's work at the operational level. As somebody who managed UN work from the development side some 10 years back, I can tell you, I think that will continue to be work in progress as we go forward. Moving forward, we would need to bring even greater coherence between peacekeeping mandates and resources. Peacekeepers cannot be expected to do more with less resources. I think that holds for everyone. And the role of peacekeeping, as the challenges increase, I think the investment in making them more useful is something that would certainly be of value. Also, the troop contributing countries which have rich and practical on ground and in mission experience should certainly be consulting before drafting the peacekeeping mandates. I think that I cannot overemphasize the importance of that. Realistic, discernible mandates are important. Those that have experience on the ground can always contribute to that. Given Pakistan's vast experience as a troop and police contributing country, we would like to enhance our contribution to peacekeeping training, capacity building, and sharing of experience and good practices. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by reaffirming Pakistan's strong commitment and support to the UN peacekeeping and peace-building architecture. Pakistan has a firm faith in the United Nations' ability to promote peace. Pakistan also truly believes that the role that the United Nations plays in peace, security, development, or norm setting is one that cannot be played by any other. We look forward to continue working with the international community to leverage UN peacekeeping as an effective tool for building a safer world. And lastly, I do want to thank the Office of the UN Resident Coordinator for partnering with the Foreign Ministry to commemorate the 75 years of UN peacekeeping. I also want to thank the United Nations UNDP resident representative as well as the two Pakistani peacekeepers who were able to give us a snapshot of what it's actually like. And I think there's no amount of speeches which can make up for the experience that you brought to the stage today. I really want to thank you for that. And I also want to thank our own ministry. It is lovely to see something done so well which you have zero contribution to. So thank you for saving us from long speeches and giving us a real snippet both on policy side and on the real, coming from the military side. And once again, let me just salute the contribution that is made. We understand when you go to faraway lands, for the sake of global peace, I think nothing speaks more for the values that your country wants to uphold in this world than your contribution. And those of your compatriots who have recently and those who over the last 60 years have made the ultimate sacrifice for the sake of their country and for the sake of the world.